Hi, George. Wow.
Hey Christine, how you
Hey,
doing?
I'm great. Rainy morning here. Yeah, coming to you from
We 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 have quite the
northern.
grey old day as well here where
Is
we
it?
are. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the way it is. And so it's October 29th, 2015, which is fairly amazing. I don't know if how many expected to get here to this date and time and be having this conversation with you, George. So,
That's right.
yeah, so I'm in Northern England and you're in Australia. And
East Coast now.
all right, wonderful. Yeah, I hear you like it there.
I absolutely love it here.
Good.
It's definitely my lifestyle. Yeah, beaches and good weather most of the time,
Right.
and good climate. Yeah, good people as well. Yeah, it's
Wonderful.
fantastic.
Yeah, sometimes those moves are the best thing for us, aren't they? Find our
Got
place.
to have the right ecosystem. That's the one thing I've learned.
Wonderful. So,
Yeah.
George, we've been talking about doing I want to call it not an interview, I want to call it an interview. You know,
Oh, I like
yeah.
that.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Let's turn the let's make the inner visible. And I know you're all about that, and that's where I'd like to go. And some of our stumbling blocks along the way, some of the things you might be finding. But first, why don't you just let us know what you've been up to? And I know you've got some exciting news.
Lots. I've just completed the very first presentation of my course. I called it Transcending the Cosmic Matrix,
Okay.
and it sold out when I did a one-day presentation back in July 25th, and I offered it, for people who were there, and it sold out on the day just like that. And it was because I only had limited numbers. It, we're doing such deep work, so it needs to be a safe and intimate environment. So I capped it at 24 people,
Right.
and it was really fantastic. Really, it was such a big deal for me because it was a culmination of my life's work. Everything, everything that I have been through, finally, I got it down into a structured format and shared with everybody the processes that I've gone through to attain that level of sovereignty and freedom and autonomy within,
Mhm.
which is now rippling slowly but surely outwardly, because your outer world's a reflection of your inner world. So it all starts in here. And once we do that inner work in this way, and we address the high level agreements on the highest levels. So my course is about going all the way to the top and hitting those biggest agreements that are in place and addressing them and bringing closure to them through love and gratitude. It's my understanding from my experience that that's really the only real way to do it properly.
Yeah, can you just give a little bit more detail? Because I know that this is an inner process, and I know
Yeah.
that there are many on the planet right now that have come here, and I know you've said in the past that it's the strongest of the strong have chosen to be here and incarnate onto Mother Earth right now. Um, in that process, when we're dealing with the harder aspects, and I know you've had some extremely hard things to confront in your life, when you say the higher levels of our contracts, can you just describe that a little more so we know what you're speaking of?
Yeah, so in the framework or the structure of the universe that I present, to me it's going home to the soul, and for me soul exists beyond spirit and beyond consciousness. Consciousness and spirit are projections from soul
Okay.
into the universe. That's my experience, and that's the aspect of me. I use the word soul to describe that part of me because it's a resonant match. The word soul, that vibrational field,
Mhm.
feels like home to me, whereas spirit has a sharper, more directed energy to it when you utter the word and the vibrational keys and patterns of it. And consciousness is a mind energy that's projected from soul, and that's the energy that we use with our creative spark and the intention that we emanate from soul to actually go and co-create the realities. So consciousness is a mind energy. And just to go backwards the other way, here on this level, we have our mind and we have our heart. And cosmically and universally, this mind translates to consciousness and the heart translates to soul. Mm-hmm. If people can understand that analogy.
So just to use different words to try to understand what you're saying, because a lot of people say that it's the spirit and consciousness and then the soul. But would you be able to say, this is my understanding through my own inner delving, is that the soul is the individuated spirit, but it never loses that contact with its original spiritual being or the fullness of consciousness, but we've been individuated out into soul, which is unique essence of each of us. Would that be somewhere close to what you're saying?
I haven't quite grasped what you were saying there, but soul is uniquely your own expression.
Right.
It's the aspect of you that is one with the creator of this universe. Mm-hmm. And it's also the gateway through beyond this universe, beyond this universal creation, to your infinite nature, to that infinite isness beyond this universe. Mm-hmm. So soul is in hierarchical terms, is the highest expression of self in this universe. And it's an aspect of us that is one with the creator of this universe. Mm-hmm. Now, both the creator of this universe and you exist beyond this universal creation into the infinite isnness and the infinite nature of your beingness.
So, yeah, I think I was saying the same thing. So it's the individuated essence, or if I was to use alchemical terminology, where each of us has a unique, call it a resonance signature that's uniquely to each of us. And I think it's really important, George, that you speak of that, because I think there's still a lot of confusion that this universal journey that you speak of, or the journey home, or the longing that we feel in our heart, or the memory, I don't really know how to describe it. Somehow we're going to meld back into the allness, which in my mind anyways, if I analyze it, would make this journey not what it's about. So you're talking about a completion. You're talking about a individuated soul, you, me, and others, that are going through this experiential, empirical, massive ocean of information, different archetypes, different planetary bodies, all of this. And then when you talk about completion, can you describe that?
Yeah, because we entered into this universe, we merged and became one with the creator. That mergence, that integration there, that's a part of us, that's soul. And then the soul then went about exploring the universe and going through the process of experiencing everything there is to experience, see everything there is to see, and do everything there is to do, and be everything there is to be. Because each time you have an experience and you cultivate the wisdom from that experience, the energy of wisdom goes back to the soul, and that is what nourishes the soul. And the soul is seeking that wisdom because it's the learning from the actual experience. So it's actually walked in those shoes, it's walked that path, it's experienced firsthand that expression of light, that version of it. And then what it will do is the soul will then project into another reality, because it's now, by the law of attraction, it's attracted, and naturally we just gravitate, because gravity is the law of attraction, we naturally gravitate to incarnating into another reality and then having that experience, because that vibrational field in that reality provides a unique set of experiences which no other reality can provide. Mm-hmm. So we've gone into this myriad, so from the soul we've just projected into an absolute myriad of realities, and we've journeyed through this universe. And then we got to that point where we just fragmented to the maximum degree, the nth degree, because we've experienced both sides of the waveform of light, because light is waveform, it's vibration, it's sound, it's logos, it's whatever you want to call it, energy. And what was then formulated was this incredible, if you want to call it, some people call it the grand plan of creation. Other people call it the pathway home. Other people call it the fractal path. So the galaxy was created, and our galaxy is a fractal of the entire universe. Mm-hmm. So entire galactic systems were taken and then re-expressed and compressed down into the expression of a single star system and inserted into this galaxy. Mm-hmm. And then you take another galaxy and you do the same. And so each star system in our galaxy is actually another galaxy expressing itself as a star. And so each star in our galaxy is actually a stargate to its respective galactic system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just phenomenal to have this remembrance.
Right.
And then once you've taken all of those stars in our galaxy, and that's why this reality is so dense. That's the fractal nature of this pathway of fractalization, or this road to compression is another expression that I use at times, because we're compressing, and we're bringing everything home into an integrated 0 point. And then all of those stars in this galaxy, then all of them together, you amalgamate in a unified single star expression, and that is our sun. And that is how our solar system was created. And then and that means our solar system is now a fractal of the galaxy, which in turn is now a fractal of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So technically speaking now, and realistically speaking, our solar system is actually a fractal of the universe. Then what we did was we created another fractal reality, the next step along, which was the Earth. So the Earth is, that's why the diversity of life on the Earth is so extent. It's more diverse than anywhere else in the universe, because it truly is a fractal expression of the entire universe expressing itself in one planetary body. And then we took it a step further. Then we created the human form. And the human form is a fractal of Mother Earth yet again. So the human form is a fractal of the Earth, which itself is a fractal of the solar system, which itself is a fractal of the galaxy, which itself is a fractal of the universe.
And then you can take it down through the microcosm also.
And
right?
that's what we're doing. It's the internal arena is the final arena where we fully integrate.
Mm-hmm.
And from here, the beginning, hierarchically speaking now, from the top of the universe, we projected all through these different layers of reality, right through this whole universal reality. Then this womb path was created, this galaxy, solar system, Earth, human vessel. And this is where the soul meets what I call a traveling spirit. So remember I said consciousness and spirit were projections from the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the quote that I use is, be your authentic self and embody your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we want here is soul expression. It's like where you have gone through this incredible journey through this universe. Now in this pathway to compression, we're just about to hit 0 point and birth through the canal of the planetary womb of the planetary mother. And this is where the soul comes, where we come home to the soul. This is the meeting place, is the internal arena in human form on planet Earth, in this solar system, in this galaxy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I also know that, from your journey and many others, that not only have we been in the realms of the light or the projection, we've also had to deal with the other dynamic polar opposite, which is the darker side, or what we might have called a force that is also in our solar system, that is also on our earth plane, which we could, I call it counterforce now. I don't like to use the word evil, but it does take it to that extreme. So when
people get confused about, I just need to clarify a dispersion about, because I was just talking about light.
Right.
And it has waveform, which is like this, as we know, in this form. Okay. So we have the most basic expression of light is a waveform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the initial expression when we enter this universe is we express ourselves from our centered state of whole and sanctified. We express ourselves one way. And then what we have to do is like, whoa, hang on a minute. So now we've got to counterbalance that by expressing ourselves in an exact equal and opposite to the initial expression, which then brings us back into balance.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, back into balance. And this is the very birthing of light. Now, there is one expression and the counter or alter ego of that, the other expression. Mm-hmm. Now, at this stage, nothing is good, nothing is evil. They're just two opposing expressions of one another. Mm-hmm. So light, this is light. This is what it's made of. Now, the concept that you're talking about, light versus dark or evil, that's a replicated version of this by another entity that exists down into the depths of what I call the cosmic arena.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. So that polarization of the white, positive love and light energy versus the dark, evil, negative charge, that is another dialectic that's been created within this universe.
Exactly. And I will follow you on that. So, but we're still dealing with that.
Absolutely, we are. Because not only do you have that negative dark of that what I call a toxic mimic, which I got from my friend Mason, and he got it from someone else, but it's a brilliant descriptive title. So this is the natural form of the whole universe is made of that. Then there's another version of that, which is a toxic mimic of that organic natural form.
Right.
And in the toxic mimic, you have the positive charge. So you have this one here, and then you have the negative. They see themselves as that, as though the positive is above and the negative is below. In reality, it's like this. They're across from one another, right?
Right.
But the running commentary is that the positive white love and lighters are better than the negative ones, right? That's the running commentary. And the problem we have is they're alter egos of one another. But with problem, reaction, solution running its amok on this planet, there's a negative charge that's being created because somebody wants to corral everybody over to this side. So the problem we have with this positive white love and light energy is it's one side of duality in a dialectic that is a toxic mimic. So it's very dangerous and corrals people into this collectivism, collective hive minds version of oneness, you know. It's very, very dangerous. So we've got to be careful of that. But yes, we have a very big problem on our planet at the moment. Yeah, totally agree with you. And we all have to deal with it.
Right. Well, and that's what I say, you know, using your terminology, and it's also one that comes to me quite intuitively, is that we're navigators, or we're navigating through something here. And so you have this toxic mimicker, or you could call it the God virus, or you could call it the God matrix, or
that's what I call it, the God matrix.
Right. And yet we, in our soul completion, are still have to encompass that in some manner, so that, or does it exist? I mean, does it exist outside of us? Are these mimickers part of our own creation? Was this set up here as part of the simulation?
Co-creation. Ultimately, it's a co-creation.
Right. Yeah. So what is it that will ultimately bring that home to or through that gateway, so we know how to navigate through this? Because on some level, it's consciousness. I mean, I understand that. I also understand it as a dynamic of energy or a dynamic of implosion. A lot of the feelings that I get when I'm looking at the polar opposites, and what you put there is there's this positive pole and this negative pole, and then there's this central pole right here that is I. But it's very, how do I say, energetically, it's very difficult to bring those polar opposites into the stream of you. Or implode those.
It is difficult if you're going to work from a space of ideology in your mind. That's the problem. This is the big challenge.
How about energetic? I mean, I'm feeling it more energetically, Joy.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge for people, is when I'm finding the majority of challenges for people in private sessions and the people I'm, crossing paths with in my journey, is that nearly everybody's stuck in ideology. I was stuck in ideology for a long time up until recently too. So we've all got it going on. There's nobody that hasn't got this going on. But how we manage now the ideology, we've got to really transcend them all, because it's deep. We've got to realize we also have a cosmic ego distortion that we need to actually, in the cosmic matrix, that we need to deal with. And that is made up of the energy of consciousness, because that's mind energy. That's where the environment, the ecosystem of ego constructs is mind energy. Egos don't reside in the heart, they reside in the mind. So what we need to do is, once we get past these ideological programs and get out of ideological spirituality, we can then start to embrace all of us, all that we are. And therefore, you'll often hear me say publicly, and I've said this before and I'll say it again here now, I have been the most evil of evil that's ever existed. I've also been the most loving and caring that's ever existed. So I understand my journey through this universe and all the different expressions that I have seen, I have done, and I have been. So therefore, I'm going to embrace all of me. So I'm not going to function any longer with an internal division, which is going to stop me from embracing all that I am. So I really needed to explore inside of myself my journey through the dark realms and the deepest depths of what we call darkness or negativity and even evil, because there's organic dark, which is really functions with great honor and respect and integrity. But then there's a synthetic dark, which is that negative charge of the toxic mimic that I talk about. And that is a whole different kettle of fish altogether. But we've all ventured through all those realms. So when people go, oh, I would never have done that. No. What we've got there is a spiritual ego that is suffering from self-righteousness. And it just can't bear the thought of it ever getting involved in anything evil. No, we've all been evil. Everybody's been evil. And the moment we start to accept that and embrace it, then we bring it home. It's not about continuing to be that. It's about healing the wound of that. We need to embrace it with love and bring it home to the soul. So we can actually end the internal division that is taking place inside of us. And that is when everything starts to come together and heal.
Well, I thank you for saying that. Thank you for stating that. I will put myself on public record also within my own memory of having committed great evil and being at the hands of the dark masters and playing in that field also. And I just thank you for...
But we have also been the dark masters.
Yes.
As well.
Okay, yeah. And
if we haven't, that means that expression of light in this universe is still awaits you. This is the interesting part about this universe. It's foolproof. Nobody gets away with anything. Right. So if you think in your mind that you haven't played a particular role, then that role still awaits you in your journey through this universe.
Right.
That's how it works. That's how this creator works.
Yeah. So really, what you're saying is one of my favorite modern day Gnostics is Jung, and what he brought forward to the subconscious fields was that whatever we're holding in our subconscious dark self, the unseen aspects that we are not confronting, is going to get played out here. So really, there's no way out but through.
Correct.
Okay. So and that passageway that we would call suffering, but it is a crucible in my mind now. It's not suffering to me as a crucible, or it's part of that necessary journey to bring back and reawaken, or I don't know if it's a timeline thing, George, maybe you want to talk about that a little bit, because sometimes I feel like when I'm in my memory exploration, I'm feeling like I'm going back through time. Actually, I have a physical sensation these days of simultaneously being pulled back in time. At the same time, something else is projecting. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if you even have felt that yourself, or I know you've explored time. And I just want to, I keep me, the way I'm trying to voice it in my own reality is there's a process that I can only describe as implosion. It's as if all these aspects that I'm being pulled back through, having to confront them, feel the energy. Sometimes they're very fast. Sometimes I have to dwell in a space for a while to get what I need out of it. But it's a simultaneous back and forward. I don't know how to describe it any other way. But
implosion is a beautiful word to use, because that's what we're doing. We're imploding all of our creations into a unified expression, because it's full integration.
Yeah. So what that brings up in me, is an emotion. Emotion on the ocean, if you will. I mean, it brings up a sense of, I think sometimes it's really difficult, and especially if people are, we're still locked in this matrix. We still look out through eyes and we see the everyday matrix. We still see people on the streets. We're still exchanging money. There's still war. All these things And, so sometimes it feels
But
like,
that's the last place it's going to change.
exactly. So I just wanted to bring that up and talk about it, because it feels sometimes like there's such a depth of consciousness or soul, if you would use the soul, happening right now, and yet it's not visible in the outer world.
And the beauty of it is the more they try to implement the control, because this is like a rising tide. Some people call it riding your tsunami. Jason's got a blog site called that.
Right.
And it's this rising tide. It's like a tsunami that's coming, and it's rising inside of us, and it's unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
It's unstoppable. And they're trying to put these control systems in place to control us through our mind, because that's the only place they can control everybody. Okay. Mind control is the biggest thing going on in this world.
Right.
It's the biggest thing by far, mind control. And they're trying to control us because inside of us, in our hearts and our spirit and our souls and our consciousness, which is part of the mind construct, it's all just rising now, surfacing from within. Mm-hmm. And the more they try to control us, it creates this pressure cooker situation. So it makes things even more intense in the internal arena, which is working in our favor. Mm-hmm. People react to it as I did and become very uncomfortable. And are there days when I feel like crap? Absolutely. Right. You betcha. Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
But how do you deal with it? It's about honoring the process now for me. It's about respecting the fact that I'm going through that process. Mm-hmm. And that process of alchemy in that moment. It's a very intense process of alchemy. Rather than responding, reacting to it with whinging, whining, tantrum, childlike, immature ego construct that is just whinging and whining. And look, if you want to have a whinge every now and then to your greater being, sure, go right ahead. On the odd occasion, I've had to go like that, Mm-hmm. You come in here and do this, I said to myself, right? Because you're not in here, I'm in here. I'm the incarnation. I'm the one that's on the receiving end of all this crap. So, you can have this really healthy banter between yourself and your greater being. However, what I tend to do now is, I really embrace it. And I say to people, like in my one-day presentations and what have you, I say, just marinate in that misery for that day. Just allow it to surface and allow your body to go through the process. And if you've got to go and buy that chocolate bar and, sit on the couch and put on your favorite film, then go and do that. But let the process be. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that you'll get through it a lot quicker, a lot better, and you won't need to go back to it because you honoured it, and incredible insights come through when you do honour it. Right. The knowledge of what it is you're going through starts to surface as well.
Right. So there's two things that are in this that I want to touch on. And one is mind control and distortion fields, because I know that you're very aware of them, and I become increasingly aware of how they're operating. Frequency wars, I'm doing a whole series on artificial intelligence right now, which we've called the pathogenic predatory artificial intelligence, because there is another type of artificial intelligence also. However, what would you say to anybody right now that we most need to be aware of? Because we still have these subconscious realms of ourselves that we haven't cleared out yet. So how is the frequency wars and the distortion? What do we watch out for, George? I mean, I see people that are very good friends. I see communities. It's really it's like standing and watching something that envelops a group of people, or envelops a friendship, or envelops a partnership. And all of a sudden there's this distortion. And it seems like whatever somebody's trying to transmit to the other is being distorted before it ever reaches them. And then you get back a distorted viewpoint, and it becomes very difficult to work through those things because sometimes they're so thick. I just wonder what you might want to say about that.
Yeah, that's really observant of you, how those distortion fields, start in one person, and it's like a mind virus that then goes into the other person and distorts their perception of the situation as well. And then it can really infect people, and you just see it just jump from one mind construct to another around a room sometimes.
Yes.
So, that comes in from many layers and many levels. You can be coordinated and targeted within the cellular network. That's a You know, that's a basic one. The movie Matrix, when they're looking at all that digital reality makeup, that's the cellular network. You know, that's not the way the natural environment is constructed. That's the cellular network. And we're in now a cellular suit. We're in that digital network, that digital environment. We're inside of it. You're swimming in it every day. And they can see everything. They can see you. They can hear you. If people think you're not going to have one of these because they're going to track you, you're kidding yourself. You're fully tracked. Fully tracked. They watch every move when you're picking your nose at home. They're watching it. You know, they can see everything. So you just got to get over it. You're fully transparent. You really got to get over it. Interdimensionally, everyone can see you too, you know. So you just got to get past that. And that forces you to function with integrity and transparency and honesty and authenticity. That's what I love about that. People think it's a horrible thing and you lose privacy. Well, you know, some things you like to keep sacred, you know, in intimate moments and things like that. But some of them are going to be watching anyway. So for me, I'm at peace with it all because I've made peace with that whole construct. This whole construct, I made peace with it. Now, some people find that absolutely absurd and ridiculous and they can't handle it. But when you become a multidimensional being, you're transparent anyway with everything that you do in the universe. Everybody, you become transparent. So it's like they want to be spiritual and they want to become these really highly evolved multidimensional beings, but they still want, out of fear, they have to hide things. That's fear-based, if you think you have to hide stuff.
So, yeah, I was going to link those two between the fear and the distortion because my observation says with myself, starting with myself, whenever I have a fear, something I feel like I need to hide or I don't want others to know, or perhaps it's something I did, whatever, fear of abandonment. I mean, there's so many deeper levels of fear. And that's where I always notice that the distortion really can come in. If you
Absolutely, because you're providing the ecosystem, like it hunts you out, it sniffs you out.
Right.
It's constantly monitoring the matrix system,
Right.
and you vibrate a vibrational field of fear in whatever form that is, anxiety, insecurity, you know, jealousy, whatever that form of fear is going to express itself in. And that program will just hone in straight onto it, right? Like a predator, and then bang, and then it'll amplify it, it'll twist it, it'll distort it. And then the real clever, the real high level, clever matrix control system is the AI that's in the moon. And it studies you and your journey through this universe. And it studies the people in your life. And it works out the karma you have, because you could be an elder or a leader of an army in the Antarian star system, for example, and the other person can be a leader in the army from the Orion system. And you two have been at war with one another. And so there's times where out there on the cosmic level, in the galactic level, you have got karma between you two. And how that translates here in this life can be totally manipulated. There'll be times when people will just look at you and have such a hatred for you, and you've done nothing wrong in this life to make them upset. Have you ever noticed that? Yet they have this disdain for you. But you're going to the picture is much bigger than we're currently aware of. So, you know, this goes cosmic and goes even beyond this galaxy. So there's a long lineage of history between us and everyone here. So these energies, if they're going to be a really good conqueror, they map that out. And then what they try to do is they look at the karmic differences between you, and then they try to amplify the different feelings and senses and emotional states. And they just play you like toys, like puppets between the two people.
Right, right. So when we're talking like that, even, I mean, I do feel that the multi-dimensional consciousness, I just call it that because I don't know what else to call it. I don't find it so much as a mind matrix, but it's an extension of awareness. That's how I would describe it then. It's an extension of an awareness. So it's aware, speaking of me sitting here right now, there's an awareness of a multidimensionality. Now, I'm right here. I'm not there, but I'm aware of it. So, and I also feel like yourself, and you've used the word way shower, or perhaps a more getting closer to your own essential aspect of yourself, is that there are those that walk the edge, that they push the edge. And so when they're pushing on that edge of possibility, potentiality, whatever you want to call it, you're quite often targeted in many, many ways, because most of us are pretty entrained to maintain the status quo, right? We want the comfort, we want the love, we want, so being uncomfortable, like the changes are coming from the edges. I mean, it's an inner thing, but it's also out there on the edge. And so I just, speaking to friends that might be listening to us right now, how do we stop ourselves, or how do we take these distortions, or how do we deal with it when a fear comes up for each other? Or is that possible, or is it just a unique individual journey to be the own vanquisher of your own fears? I know there's primordial ones too. I feel also, maybe we'll talk about that.
Ancestral as well.
Ancestral. And then I heard an interview of you that was recorded in 2013 recently, and it's something that's come into the consciousness field again. I thank you, George. Really, I do. Thank you for your soul journey to have brought a lot of this, be one of the first people to speak about it publicly. But I'm feeling like there's a lot of soul consciousness gathering. I'm going to use that, soul consciousness. I like that. Soul integration, where getting down to these levels of fear, like you can go through all sorts of levels of different fears, but there seems to be a primordial one. And it has to do with what I want to ask you about right now, which is, you called it Marduk, I call her Tiamat, the planet that was destroyed in the solar system. And there seems to be a major rift, or such a major trauma that it got embedded in this, at least in this planetary body and in the solar system. It's like a base level trauma, because I find myself, when I'm getting closer to my own integration, this fear, I don't know how to describe it other than that comes up. It's a traumatic fear, like something in me goes, again, you're not going to make it, or don't go there, because and then out of that, then there starts a certain amount of conflict. Male female seems to be one of the biggest polarizations that we're dealing with. Understanding those two energies in ourselves and in our relationships.
Which two energies?
Male female, like the okay. So I just prefer to talk about any polarity as a dynamic energies, and not so much as, against or versus or anything like that. We just have energetics that we can describe as female or male. But some reason I'm relating this planet, and I know you've talked about it, I'm just curious, I'd love to ask you more right now if you want to explore that, because I know Michael Tessarian, I know a lot of the people that I talk to all the time are starting to remember this event, that it was major. And it seems to me that we as soul consciousness are going to be healing that. And as we do, perhaps it moves forward into other soul beings. But yeah, so that's my take on it. And a lot of the folks that I'm speaking with these days are remembering pieces of it.
The primordial rift is the internal division, and is also our contract with the entity which is known as God. The biggest problem we have on this planet is God. God is not the creator of this universe. God is the deity, and people need to understand where I'm coming from here, okay, before they get all uppity with their programs kicking in and reacting right now. The first question people need to ask is where did those three letters come from, and who told them that those three letters should be attributed to the creation of this universe? Because here you have this one entity that's claiming to be the creator of all that is and all that exists. Now, I got taken to the Vatican, and I had it out with 2 cardinals and 2 senior officials, because they're monitoring my path, because they're really interested in anybody who's got, to say what out, in the arena. Because they see themselves as the arbiters of knowledge in this world. I mean, that's what the Inquisition was all about. So, what we have here is their deity claiming to be the creator of all that is and all that exists. Yet I'm infinite. I know I'm infinite. You see, I've never been created. Once we understand what it means to be infinite, we just totally smash the God program. totally smash it. We expose it for what it truly is. You see, there's no beginning to me and there's no end to me. I always have been and I always will be. But here you have one entity that's claiming to be the creator of all that is and all that exists on all levels of life everywhere in the whole entire infinite of isness. But there's no beginning, there's no end to that. There is no one anything and there is no entirety of life. It's open-ended. There's no beginning to it, there's no end to it. There is nothing greater than you. There's nothing beyond you. I'm no greater than you. You are no greater than me. Nothing exists beyond me. Nothing exists beyond you. Nothing exists beyond you who's watching and listening to this. There's no beginning to you and there's no end to you. See? You've never been created. And here you have this being that's coming along that's trying to convince you that it's your maker. It's the biggest lie, the biggest deception being imposed on this human race. And every culture's got it. It's God in the Western world. It's Yahweh. It's Allah. It's Shiva. It comes in all sorts of forms in every culture. And it's a disease that is infecting the human mind and the human psyche, because this is an ego construct that is suffering from the greatest egoic insanity this universe has ever seen. This is the problem we have. This is what I have to deal with behind the scenes. I have to deal with this entity. My course is actually about dealing with this entity. I've already done it. I'm doing it. I do this work. This is what I do. And so now I'm bringing it and making it available for people to do it too. This is about bringing closure to the agreements we have in place with this deluded entity. And we have to come to the realization, we have to own it, you see. There's no, I'm not sitting here pointing the finger and playing the blame game with this entity. I fully own my co-creative experience with it. Totally. Yeah. But I have to be able to express and expose and explain the construct of what's going on. So it's not about playing the blame game here. Right. But this is the entity that is providing, this is the core. This is the very core essence of what is providing all the programs of limitation. Now, we can only transcend it with love and gratitude. So this entity is the greatest private, shall I say, personal trainer that you could ever want to have, because it's the best personal trainer I've got in this universe, because it challenges me more than any other entity can challenge me in this universe, because it is at the pinnacle of an ego construct that has become so diluted, at the very pinnacle, the top of it. No expression beats it. And we've all played that role. It's an office of position. This is a real interesting one. See, I've already integrated with that aspect of my being. I remember being that. Okay. And more people, there's other people on this planet that also remember being that. Then you can embrace it. And we've been that in previous epochs and eras in our journey through this universe. Now, there's one that's playing it now in the structure of the way the universe is structured now. And it's better than anyone else that's come before. Well, it wasn't around doing it when we were doing it, with the way the universe was structured when we were doing it. So whether it's better or not, it's really good at it now. That's the best way of putting it.
Well, it matters.
This is what we're dealing with.
Right.
And it is just an ego construct that resides in consciousness. And this is why we have the pursuit of consciousness on this planet right now is the running commentary. Everybody's got to go for that higher consciousness, where it's about awareness. And consciousness is part of what you are, but it's not everything that you are. And the problem we have is consciousness is being sold as though it is everything. And this is the way this ego entity works, this ego construct works, because its environment, its ecosystem is universal consciousness. Excuse me, it resides in that construct. And so its spiritual doctrine that it's disseminating on the planet at the moment is all about the pursuit of consciousness. So it's mind enlightenment. It's not actually being enlightenment. Yeah?
Right. So, I mean, another way of saying that, in my own self-examining aspects of this entity, and having heard it first, from you in the very way that my mind, because the mind also acts in this, right? I mean, there's the heart energy, which can pierce through and see. And yet this part of me, I need to destructure this part in my own mind also. And so what I'm feeling is that it just is one more consciousness through mind constructs, through different religions, where, I mean, I know certain religious ideologies that are so well wrought that anybody that's a practitioner of that has literally made themselves into a mind maze matrix where they leave no out. I mean, it's really quite phenomenal. And so I agree with you that this is something that we all need to become very, very aware of first in ourselves. That's definitely there. So looking at it, when you say love and gratitude, right, which is, wow, sometimes I think, wow, we really created something like this that has gone this far, that not only each of us in different moments of our own deities and our own other games that we were playing has usurped so much consciousness that we're literally within its realm. And so, well, I could thank it. I mean, I can thank it. It's okay. You know, I mean, because it is that other counter pressure that, for anyways, within myself, that I sit in a lot of awe a lot of the time, because it's just like, this is the realm that we've created, and this is the game that we're in. And also the other inverse of that, which is the vibration, I guess, George, maybe you would, use better words than I can right now, is like returning to that center beingness of an individuated soul vibrates at a different frequency. It's like you leave that. I guess the only way I really know how to deal with that is like disengage from its hooks, its Velcro, its ideologies.
In a way, but my path is one of embracing it.
Okay.
Because then you transcend it.
Uh-huh.
So for me, it's all about transcendence.
Right.
That's, to me, the essence of alchemy.
I guess that the detaching from it or disengaging allows one at least to understand that it's there. Because when you're
that's managing your relationship with it.
Uh-huh. Right.
Yeah, you need to manage your relationship with it, but at the same time, you can't just disconnect from it and live in denial of it.
No, well, that wouldn't.
That's the dangerous part. That's the trick. That's what the white love and lighters want to have you to do, to deny that evil exists. The greatest trick evil can ever play on you is to convince you into believing that it actually doesn't exist. Right. That is by far the greatest trick you could ever play on you. No, evil does exist. It totally exists. It's real. You see it play out in this world all the time. I've seen it play out in the Orion Wars. I've seen it play out in lots of my journeys through this universe, in lots of my constructs and incarnations and realities. And I've been, like I said, the most evil of evil this universe has ever seen at one stage in my journey through this universe. So I'm fully embrace all of that. All I've seen, all I've done, all I've been. I'm not going to leave one little skerrick of me out. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm embracing all of it. And that is how you unify, how you integrate, and how you bring home to the soul everything that has been fragmented. Mm-hmm. It's the only way. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And we've got to get past that self-righteousness. It's a mind virus, and you end up with this porcelain glaze, and you come from this really elite, it's like spiritual elitism, when people just, they look down, their noses at you. Well, it's just amazing how the judgment occurs from that realm.
Yeah. I certainly have had my own bouts with that myself, and and yet there's an aspect to it's when there's that self-righteousness, it also sets up a protection of what you just don't want to look at. It's like you really don't want to look at it. So you build a construct that can be self-righteous or in arrogant or whatever. It's all about keeping it away away from you, that you don't have to feel it. So in right now, moving from where you are doing the coursework you're doing, your own process or your own journey right now, how do you see this playing out in a larger Earth-like world? How do you have some insights? You looking ahead, or is that not possible yet? Is there something you see forming? That's another way of putting it, because as this matrix is starting to reveal itself and starts to come down, this God virus or this God matrix, that energy that's being recapitulated into the individuated soul, the integrated soul, seems to me that something else is also emerging. It's kind of a...
Well, there's several things emerging. What we are birthing here is a unified expression of all that we have seen, done, and been. So you can imagine an entire universal journey expressing itself in one integrated, unified expression. Imagine the power of that. That's really something special. That's birthing here. So there's a new expression of light that is birthing in this part of the universe. Never been seen before. What we are becoming is brand new, because we are the oldest, the wisest, and the most powerful beings in this universe. Because what's happening here is brand new. This fractal path is brand new. It hasn't been seen before. And only the beings who are the very first to have entered this universe, who have been around this universe the longest, who have attained the most wisdom, had the capacity to enter into the co-creative process with the Creator to create these realities. And I call us all part of the prime creator group of this galaxy, the solar system, the Earth, and the human vessel. And as being a part of that, and it's a large group, and there's a lot of beings involved in that. It takes quite a few beings to build a galaxy, you know. There's also, funny enough, because it's a universe of contrasting expressions, a new darkness that is birthing here, because there is a new light that is birthing. Now, the new darkness that is birthing is the spice and the sprinkle that will go back into the universe and provide the next set of challenges in the evolutionary process of this universe. So people don't understand the way this creator works. They're so busy coming from their ideology that they lose touch with reality. If this creator did not want evil to exist, to wipe it out like that. But the reason evil exists is because it serves a purpose in the universe. It needs it. It has to be a part of the journey, because it provides the resistive programs to the nth degree, much further. It's a distorted version of the natural order of what is negative and what is dark, okay? So you've got what's called the organic dark, this labeling that I use, and then you have the synthetic dark. Because remember, you have that toxic mimic of this waveform pattern, right? So you have the natural order of this, the organic positive and negative charge, but then you have the toxic mimic of that, which is what I call synthetic light or false light. And the God entity is the creator of that. And that's why the God created the image of the devil, because it's a reflection of its own self. So it's a dialectic that this entity has created, and in one big giant universal drama vortex that's sucking so many beings and realities into it. It's amazing how it works. But this is what I see. And the more we come home to the soul is also, remember, the gateway to our infinite nature. So the more you come home to the soul, the more access you get to your infinite nature, the more knowledge also you get of your journey through this universe. You also then integrate, because the soul is the part of you which is the greatest aspect of self in this universe, the part of you that's one with the creator. Excuse me, it's also the part that unifies and connects me to everyone and everything in this universe. Right. So let me share a quote that I have. My connection to you is through my heart and my soul, not through my mind. The mind is my ideals of you, but it's not my connection to you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the more we come home to the heart, here's a really old, very most basic act that has been around since the birth of humanity. It's really simple. It's this action, we've all seen it, like that, like that, like that.
Yeah.
How simple is that? Yeah? And this action from there to there.
Right.
And what we're doing is we're taking the waveform opposites, the universe of contrasting expressions, we bring them together, and then we take the mind and we realign it to the heart. Because you want this to get its instructions from here. This is where the soul resides. Yeah? And this is my third eye here, not that implant in the brain called the pineal gland. I'm happy to go there if you want.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I've heard you talk about that before too, but you know, in that seems to be also a very natural movement within this human form to take it right to there. And so if we could remember that when we're dealing with the apparent other, right? When there are distortions, when there are runaway emotions or mind loops or projections, because that's the aspect to also, George, that it seems so this mind projects, right? The ideology or the ideas that it has, and the clearer we get, because to me, I have one that I like to say, a free mind is a beautiful thing, because it's stopped its projection. It's just now where we get to see through all the way through, and we get out of the distortion. I mean, it's very difficult because the world is conformed to distort everything. And so so much of it resides in each of us, but also in our interactions with each other. And sometimes I'm aware in the need myself is that we touch and we let go. We touch and we let go, because so often we touch something and it's so special and precious. Then that mind or ego part comes in, wants to hold it and bind it and keep it or project onto it. I mean, that's another thing that we so often will end up doing. We'll project out of ourselves onto that other person that's in front of us, so that we're asking them to be the arbitrator of our life, or we're asking them to act out in ways that we need them to see.
Yeah, and a classic example of that is when someone will go through the process of transcending the chakra system, for example. You know, that ideology or that religious belief system that, you know, you can't live without chakras. That's a religious ideology. That's not reality. And there's lots of people getting around without chakras. And they're the most peaceful, most centered, most happiest people on the planet, you know, joyous people, not the shallow happiness where people are blissing out and you know, off their faces on meditating because they're consuming light energy from inside of themselves, which is really drug taking on a cosmic level. So when somebody gets that deep sense of joy that emanates from deep within, from heart soul essence, that's a completely different experience to that buzz factor of the bliss sensations going on with that other energy, the other concept. So here you have when somebody is actually transcended the chakra system and are walking this earth very happily with a single energetic center, coming back home to singularity beyond the fragmented state and that polarization and the compartmentalization of the fragmented state of being that the chakra system is actually designed to do. Then what happens is you'll come across somebody who's a new age healer, for example, and their belief system is so strong that what they will do is they'll create a visual imprint on you because they cannot believe in their own mind that someone can exist in this reality without a chakra system. I'm not talking about all the natural energetic centers we have all over our bodies. I'm talking about that spiritual doctrine of the rainbow-colored chakra system, which is a spiritual doctrine being disseminated on this planet for a specific reason.
Could you talk about that one? I mean, I'm in agreement with you because there's an aspect of understanding your own. You said something about taking the energy from outside, and there is an aspect of me that knows that I am my own energy generation. I have in my heart this complex, because I feel it's a complex too. I don't just heart. I feel like the heart is an electrical magnetic generator when we can be in that love joy place. We're not needing to take it from the environment. We're not needing to grasp it. So that chakra system, right, and the pineal gland, and I've seen certain aspects of it myself to come to understand it. Well, part of me says, well, we needed that for a while. Like that was part of our fragmentation.
Yeah, we did. It served a beautiful purpose. It really did.
Okay, good. All right. So now the transcending of that purpose, they're not wanting to let go of something that seems like a matrix. It seems like a control matrix in and of itself.
Well, the chakras, the chakra kundalini pineal construct, that three-way system, are all part of the God matrix. And when you view life via the pineal gland, what you're doing is you're seeing life through the eye of God, through the eyes of that God entity, the way it experiences life in this universe, the way it sees life in this universe. Mm-hmm. That's the energy you're connecting to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's why there's that lens in it and it points up. It's a biological plant. That's why it's calcifying the body, because the body's attacking it, because it's a foreign body. Half the world's population does not drink chlorinated or fluoridated water, yet that's still same half of the Earth's population. It's like people just need to get in touch with reality. And it points up because what it does is it brings in, it sees the light coming in through the crown chakra. Mm-hmm. That's what it's designed to do. And then that's that beam of light that comes in directly from the God entity. So, I'm in the process of atrophying the pineal gland. I'm not interested in attaining any knowledge through it. Mm-hmm. All my knowledge comes from my heart soul lessons, where I've gone back to singularity here in the middle of my chest. I was to choose a single energetic center located on my body somewhere. I experience it here. That's why I put my hands here. That's where we feel grief. This is where we have a heavy heart when we're grieving. And so this area here for me is where I experience my heart soul essence. Mm-hmm. And so that is my third eye. It's through my connection to everyone and everything is how I actually draw the knowledge of that, which I tend to draw the knowledge of. It's my connection to it. It's my integration with it. Yeah. It's not an intellectual concept through the pineal gland.
Okay. So, I had many years ago, a Kundalini experience, spontaneous, right? And it was very overwhelming. It lasted for about 3 months. And during that time, everything came into me through this pineal gland. But it was very interesting. And I think all of our experiences, though, count, right? I mean, there's not this...
Absolutely they do. I don't rule any of them out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. All valid.
Right. And so I learned through that experience that instead of me, it was so weird. It was like everything reversed. Instead of me looking out at the world came through me this way. And I learned a heck of a lot about myself. And then several years later, that absolutely stopped. I have no third eye. I have no projection through that mindscape at all. How I tend to visualize or feel the energetics of a mind is actually... It's like I want to almost describe it as a resonant chamber or a dome or something of that nature. And I feel like within that neurons, there's a different neurological pathways are actually in a process of creation right now. So
I fully agree. I'm in resonance with it.
Okay. Yeah. Because sometimes it's good to try to describe these energies. People might be having them, and then I know how many people are isolated or don't find a place to share it. They're going through these things. And then, now this I want to ask you about. So recently, and it comes from the heart, but there's actually like it's almost like a little sphere, and it sort of floats here. And I call it my navigational device. I don't know what to call it, George. It's like when I'm not in alignment with my truer essence, it goes wacko, and I kind of like,
right.
Okay, so I don't even know what that is. It was just like about a month ago, I detected something of that nature, and I don't know if you have.
And where is it located?
It's actually floats. It floats. It's not always very present, but if I'm in a really good, you said joy. If I'm in that expression of joy place, that expression of love, which is an outpouring, it's an inpouring, outpouring. And I'm going to bring back to something you said to try to just, I hear you and then I try to put it into my languaging. So I came to think of, like the bubble that's in a meter, like if it, that bubble that goes that way or that way, it's a leveling device. So I see it that way. That's always, okay. So it lets me know if I'm on, and it's only me. I don't try to say this to anybody else. It's just like, I think we all have.
It's getting hard to understand you because you're actually breaking up now.
I know you started to break up too.
So it looks like the internet connection is getting quite poor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't need to, we could talk, I know we could talk for hours and hours. So maybe we can bring it to a close right now, and just thank you for sharing this with me and listening and bringing this out. And perhaps it's the best thing I would just like to ask you, for those that are listening. See, there's this expression that you use several words in their wisdom, their joy, and their heart, and their gratitude. And so those all come to me as a very authentic, they're not emotions per se, they're feelings, but they're not emotions. And
they're states of being. They're states of being.
States of being, okay, right. And so there's a new state of being that, because I look for new words also, because we get stuck on these word matrices, and it's profluence, and it is a state of fluidity. A state of being in your eternal beingness where you're in a very fluid state. Now, that's something that I don't think is is starting to happen to a lot of people. And it's recognizable. It's recognizable.
It really is. It really is. And it's very steadfast, and it's very strong. And it's very powerful. And it makes a statement. It makes a statement of, I'm here. I have arrived. I've landed. I'm in this body. I'm now incarnate with purpose, with intention. Yeah. And I'm here to fulfill my life mission, and I'm going to do it. I'm really actually going to do it. Regardless of what anyone else or what other energy thinks, I'm here to achieve this, because I know this, because I have a unified field of love with my planetary mother. I have a unified field of love with my relationship with the being that is the solar system, with the sun. I also have a unified field of love with my galactic mother in the core of the galaxy. So you can see, and it goes right down to the, right into the depths of the universal creation and your relationship with the creator. So you understand that it is just so strong. And in ancient times, it's what we called Camelot. It's invoking your inner castle. It's your inner fortitude. It's the same as Solomon's temple. Solomon. This is Solomon's temple. This is it. It's not bricks and mortar in the Middle East. That's a religious ideology. The true teachings of Solomon was, this is Solomon's temple. Solomon, this is the temple of your soul star essence.
Beautiful.
This is the temple of your inner sun. This is what it is. Okay?
Say that one more time, because this is something that is really very powerful, George, and it just like it needs to be verbalized, like you started out saying, your inner sun, your inner soul sun. And I love that you say that, and I can think we can end on that as just a very powerful message, because we all recognize it when we touch it. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. Right. And once you've touched that, then you don't ever forget either. You will come back to that again and again.
It's the best point of reference you will ever have.
Exactly. So I bless you.
It has a resonant field of energy and love, and that becomes your point of reference for discernment from that moment on.
Right. And that's what I think I was saying about that inner compass, or that inner, when I'm off of that center, I know it. And I, like you, have to sit maybe days sometimes to go through whatever processes are going on to come back to that. And sometimes it lasts longer, sometimes it's not. So I love sharing with you. It's a beautiful, beautiful, joyous ride, and a pleasure. And thank you. There's a lot of.
And thank you too.
My darling, I know.
Thank you too, Christine. It's always an honor and a pleasure for me too. We always go deep and go incredible places. Always, it's fun.
Yeah. So another day, another time. But meanwhile, blessings, not blessings. What's the right word, George? We have to come up with a new word.
Well, I have my sayings, and one of them is be your authentic self and embody your soul.
Right. And yeah, so in love and in honor. Love you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Love you too.
Yeah. Bye.
And love everybody. Love you all. Thank you.